Mm-mm.
Well,
Did someone say Sony?
that's right. The sneak attack, the surprise attack from Sony. Just when you thought there would be no more really expensive point and shoots released in 2025, Sony come out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
And we've been talking about point and shoots for months because we've had some crackers, we've had some disappointments. We're seeing more and more in this market. And Sony just changed the game, I would have to say.
Or did they? Did they wait too long? I don't know.
I don't know. No, I don't know.
I don't know. Because you know what's interesting about this is it's not the typical, like obviously it is a surprise. This came out of nowhere, even to the big news sites like us. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Big news sites like Petapixel. They didn't have one of these cameras to test beforehand, and it sounds like, unless they're being tricky, they didn't even have a press release prior to the world knowing about it.
Yeah.
So it's quite an interesting strategy.
Well, I don't know if it's a strategy or if they just prove to be better at containing leaks than others. These days we are seeing leaks drop on everything before they come out. We knew what the XE5, what was the X half or the half X? We knew what that was going to look like. We knew what the GFX was going to look like before it dropped. We're seeing a lot of leaks and leak spec sheets and, So Sony, I think Sony have got a tighter lid on things.
I disagree.
I
disagree. This was rumored. It was rumored it was coming. Before I bring that up, I'm just going to say hello to Philip Johnson because he's a legend. Hey, Philip. Philip says,
Morning,
did
Philip.
someone say Sony? How did that happen? Morning, gents. Morning, Ian Thompson. Good morning, Paul. He says, hey, that YouTube alert thingy works. Yes.
What did we tell you?
If you hit the bell, the notification bell, it'll just tell you when we go live. That way, when we do these random shows when cameras get released, you'll know about it. So do that. If you've got a chance right now, please do the notification thingy on YouTube. I'm going to bring this up. This is the rumor that was out prior to the leak. We can see prior to the release. This is on Photo Rumors, RX1R3 camera rumors, improved operations, 4K video, updated EVF. This was published on April 10th, 2017. So
that's just a guess.
They knew this was coming 8 years ago, which is pretty amazing.
But look, in 8 years ago, any idiot could have said, "Oh, it's going to have 4K video." Of course, it's going to have 4K video. It's going to have better operations. What does better operations mean?
I mean, did they improve the EVF?
Well, we'll have a look. We'll get into
have a look. But anyway, I thought that was interesting because I was like, I wanted to see, were there any rumors floating around before this? And this was one of the first ones that popped up. And I was like, wow, 2017.
Yeah, they were really early.
Ahead of the game quite early on the release of this camera. Anyway, for those of you that aren't aware, the previous RX1 Mark II come out in October, November 2015. So almost a decade ago. This is the update. And I guess actually, should we talk a little bit about, Greg, do you want to give people a quick rundown of like what is the RX1R series? If people don't know.
The RX1R series is Sony's full frame, compact, fixed lens powerhouse system. It always had a bit of a niche cult following. It was great for street. It was kind of a photojournalist. It was also a great travel camera because it was kind of like a bit like when, Justin went to America. Was that last year?
Yeah. May last year.
You took your Leica Q3, which is a compact fixed lens, full frame camera. So this is Sony re-entering this market after a decade, keeping in mind that Sony have had other compacts. They've had their, the RX100 Mark 7 is the latest. Is it the RX camera? Yeah.
But that was a ton smaller sensor, more of a true pocketable point and shoot.
But impressive nonetheless. And that was their Mark 7. That was a good seller, but that's getting old too.
I think the Mark 7 that was 2019.
Yeah, so Sony have held off on this space, and I think, we'll get into the ins and outs of it in a bit more detail, but this camera is, I think, Sony's shot across the bow to Fujifilm, maybe Leica to a degree, but especially the Fujifilm X100 and the GFX100 series. It kind of sits in the middle of that field.
Oof.
give or take, closer to the GFX, obviously.
Well, price-wise, it's essentially the same as the
Price-wise,
GFX100RF.
yeah.
So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
That's a big thing to take a bite at. You know, like that Fujifilm didn't iterate up to that level of camera until 6 versions of the X100. And then they were like, all right, let's have a crack at sort of Leica dollars, you know, in a point and shoot. And Sony are, I don't know. So an interesting fun fact, the Leica Q was released in June 2015. So it was released a few months before the second version of the RX1R, so the RX1R Mark II. So Sony was quite ahead of Leica in terms of the original RX1R producing a full frame, fixed lens, high quality point and shoot camera.
Yeah.
Only to then essentially disband it as Leica's, disband that series and stop iterating on it as Leica built in that time. Leica built the Q series to being one of the most well-known high quality point and shoot cameras that there is. You know, every time a Q gets released, the internet explodes. So,
so it makes me wonder, you know, was Sony playing a cautious game, or were they intentionally playing a long game? You know, that they weren't quite ready to drop the Mark III of this RX1R in 2017 anyway. And, you know, and they've just been watching the market and they've gone, you know what, actually, Fujifilm are going to start stealing some of our market share with some of these things. The Leica Q3 has probably already stolen a bunch of market share. But I don't know how good a seller the original RX1R and the Mark II were, or whether they were slow burn products.
It obviously wasn't a massive seller. Otherwise, they probably would have kept on that series. They probably were seeing massive uptake of their cameras for hybrid photo video and video, and they probably just pushed R&D and probably correctly. You know, like you could look at this negatively and say, well, they could have been so much further along with this series. It could have been a great seller for them. But, you know, like the leaps and bounds they've made in the video world, you know, in their just general Alpha series cameras, maybe that R&D was rightly diverted to that world. So I don't know. It's hard to know. Just quickly, so Lim 2001 Burger says, hello gents. Hello Lim 2001 Burger. If you are new here, this is what we do. We go live so that you can comment and ask questions or just ultimately give your opinion on this new camera. So we want to hear from you if you're listening live. If you're listening back later, then, well, you missed out, but jump on the next one, but still enjoy the show.
And where are you watching us from? Let us know. And what do you shoot? Are you a Sony shooter?
Do you like this camera? Do you hate this camera?
Are you interested in buying it?
Paul says, wasn't able to listen live to the whole Monday night episode, but just caught up. Justin, it looks like I'll be doing a geology, photography, and whiskey tour around the New Zealand South Island about a week before you. Damn it, Paul. When do you leave versus when do I get there? We might be able to cross paths briefly. But you'll have to give me some tips if possible as to must-see locations, because we've got 2.5 weeks in a camper to go wherever we want. So
I like that combo though. Geography, photography, whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool.
My name's Patrick. Sorry. Patrick is easier to say.
Okay.
You go.
Patrick, easier to say than your username. Okay. Patrick Lim 2001 Burger. Watching from Sydney. Great to have you here. And the question was, did the RX1R Mark II have reliability issues? Don't know why they had such a big gap. Not that I know of. Did you hear about anything like that?
No, I don't think it had reliability issues. I think the biggest issue with it was that it was kind of ahead of its time a little bit. You know, it was a compact, big sensor camera that, you know, took massive files. And it was kind of a bit of a revolutionary kind of entry in the marketplace because no one was really doing that effectively. Obviously, we talked about that with the Leica, and Fujifilm already had their X100s, but they were APS-C and they were much smaller, you know, megapixel density and performance and things like that.
And price. The RX1, the RX1 and RX1 Mark II, they were nowhere near in the price range of like a Leica Q, but they were definitely expensive.
Yeah.
Compared to an X100 at the time, from what I remember. Yeah.
And I think back then people felt like, you that it was just too powerful for a point and shoot. People just didn't understand it. And I think the same will happen with this one, especially when you look at the price. And we'll get to price a little bit later, but let's just talk about some of the basic specs, yeah?
Well, before you do that, I just want to bring up Nev Clark's comment. It's good to have you here, Nev.
Hey, Nev.
Nev's a diehard Fuji man, but has recently been expressing a lot of interest about this style of camera, including a Q3. And he says, I don't understand this camera at all. I really don't. I just don't. And I know they're coming from, hang on. Coming from a Fuji user, that's kind of like saying you don't understand pancakes with barbecue sauce on them. Okay. I don't know if I understand that comment exactly in a similar way to you not understanding the camera. But in terms, I think I get what you're saying, which is you don't think that the combination of specs and everything and price fits the intended market. I don't know.
Which is what people thought about the GFX100RF. It went,
Yes.
oh, hang on, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Speaking of specs, let me just get some specs out of the way. So Sony Electronics Incorporated have announced the RX1R Mark III, RX1R Mark III. It's hard to say. The third gen, it's a 61 megapixel, 35 millimeter full frame X100R CMOS image sensor. So it's got some grunt. It's got the latest Bion's XR image processing engine, and the fixed lens is a Zeiss Sonar T35 f2 full frame lens.
The original lens of the original RX1R and RX1R Mark II. They don't roll off the tongue. We need to abbreviate them. We'll just call them the R2.
Like a pirate
camera. Yeah. So the original lens, the sensor out of the A7R Mark IV and V, which is an amazing sensor, probably a similar sensor that's in the Leica Q3 and the M11, I think. 60 megapixel Sony built sensor, fairly sure.
Sounds like it might be, while they're in the factory, just put one in a Leica box, put one in a Sony box. So
old sensor, but amazing sensor. It's while that's been out for a few years now, it's perfect for this camera in terms of if you want epic quality. There's no shortcomings in the sensor other than for video work. It does have rolling shutter issues and stuff like that. But in terms of just high quality imagery that could rival the GFX100RF, but in a slightly less, not 100 megapixels, but 60. It's up there in image quality. It's about as good as you can get in full frame these days.
But it doesn't have IBIS.
Oh no!
Yeah, I know.
What are they going to do?
Well, I'm not really sure, to be honest. It does have a crop shooting mode. They call it step crop shooting, which will deliver 35mm, which is its native focal range, at 50mm and a 70mm. And you can do that via an aside button, or you can, customize it. What else can we get? It also has kind of a slight magnification. It's a 0.26 magnification with a 20 centimeter minimal focus distance, similar to the Q3, I guess, in that respect, that it kind of has a macro mode. Yeah.
Q3 has an actual, and it's a manually engaged macro mode that moves some elements in the lens itself to get very close. It works pretty well.
Well, that's good. And an interesting thing that I saw in the promo video that I watched this morning was that they are adding, I think they're adding like 12 creative, they call them creative looks, which isn't that what Leica calls them? They have Leica looks.
They're just called Leica looks, and essentially they're both in a similar vein to the Fujifilm simulations. Yeah.
Leica's this has got it too.
Okay.
So this has got a whole bunch of film sims, including like Polaroid and film. And so people are seeing I guess brands have seen that, Fuji are doing well with their film sims. I mean, they're making it a dedicated dial on most of their entry-level cameras now because it's appealing to people. It's people that are used to smartphone shooting where you can apply filters in Instagram or other apps. You can just do this in camera. So, which is great. It's a slick looking thing. The EVF is a 2.36 million dot XGA OLED, so good contrast, nice resolution. It's not an astounding EVF in terms of megapixel resolution, but it's okay.
It's pretty. I think it's pretty average compared to the competition, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
Compared to the Q3 and the GFX, I think it's. I can't remember. I need to double check before I throw stones, but I'm pretty sure it's not great.
The battery, 300 shot life. It's not a lot.
No, it's hard to know with those things too. I can't remember what the others are rated to. My Q3, I can't remember what it's rated to. It gets pretty good range, but it's also so that battery thing though. Like it's a very small body. The RX1R is a very compact camera. Yeah. The lens is pretty big, but it's a very small body.
Let me tell you how big it is because it's tiny. And when you think what they've packed into it, pretty impressive. So it is for our what do we use? We don't use imperial, we use metric. For our metric friends, it's 113 by 67 by 87 mils. For our imperial friends, it's 4.5 by 2.7 by 3.4 inches. So it's really compact. In terms of weight, with the battery and an SD card, it's 498 grams or 1.1 pounds. So it's really compact. It's really lightweight. The lens does protrude a bit, and you can actually opt to buy. Sony are also selling it separately, which I think they should always include it, but lens hood.
Yeah. It's funking expensive as well.
So there's 3 accessories that Sony are promoting with this release, and it reminds me of the release of, I don't know if Leica did this, but when they released the Fujifilm X-E4, I've always talked about how they released a Fuji-made thumb grip and a Fuji-made base plate that had a grip at the front, so you can improve your ergonomics. They're doing the same thing here, but the pricing is crazy. It's crazy. So the TG2, that's a dedicated thumb grip that attaches into the hot shoe. That's all it is. It's an alloy thumb grip. The alloy thumb grip is $300 for a thumb grip.
That's dearer than the Leica thumb grip.
Yep.
Which is made out of Leicatanium.
There's a Leicatanium. They found that in Wakanda too. There's also a compact body case dedicated to the camera model. The body case is what is it? That's another $250. And then there's a lens hood, which again is a robust construction, a high strength aluminium material, and that is $200. Is it? No, it's also $200 US.
Yeah.
So, should we talk about the price while we're talking numbers?
I think we should, and then we'll talk about the price. We'll jump to some comments, and then we'll dig deeper into some of the what we see as being the pros and cons of this particular camera and how it's going to sit in the market against these other beasts that have been dominating the category.
Let me share my screen.
Okay.
Because I always find this a bit easier to have graphics. Here we go. This is the brand new Sony RX1R Mark III. Estimated shipping the end of this month. Which is pretty quick.
It's interesting. So the estimated shipping end of this month, but again, we didn't see any. You normally see the 600 most popular YouTubers all have their videos go out exactly at the same time on a day like today.
Petapixel with an actual review.
With a review, hands-on. And they said, we have not had our hands on this camera. We expect one to be arriving very soon.
No, there's very few videos on YouTube.
Yeah, very
really
interesting.
Select kind of influences, I think.
So I didn't even see any. Was there some?
I think there were ones that Sony made where people are talking about it. But
exactly.
Not our usual crew.
They haven't sent it out to anyone. Okay.
No. All right, let's have a look at this screen. All right, so here it is here, the RX1R. So this is US dollars. This is B&H. B&H is a good point of reference because they stock everything, literally everything. So $5,098 US dollars, which we're not going to do a straight equivalent to Australian dollars because of tariffs and stuff. Pricing is all over the shop. So there's no point doing like it's going to cost this much in Australian dollars because that's not going to be accurate and we would be doing you a disservice. But so the RX1R is $5,098. Let's have a look at the GFX. So the GFX is only a couple of $100 less. Okay, so and that's medium format or larger format, 102 megapixel.
Yeah, and essentially close enough because different companies have different ways they set up their pricing and all that kind of stuff. But it's going to be within that exact same ballpark, and that price in Australia is $8,799 for a GFX100RF.
Yeah. So here we have the TED site, which is an Australian site. Pretty mid-range pricing.
Yeah. Well, I was also looking at on Fujifilm House of Photography, so they're like in-house brand, and they've got it at that same 8799.
Yeah.
A couple of people have it $100 off, but that's about the best you'll get a deal on these at the moment.
So in Australia, we're looking at, it's going to be somewhere between 8.5 and 9.
Yeah.
Just for the camera. Interestingly, the GFX does come with a metal hood, a square, like 2 hoods.
So does the Q3.
Included in that pricing. So you're forking out quite a lot extra. You know, if you get all 3 of those accessories, if you like me and you like to kit up your camera, what do I call it? Pimp your camera. You know, you're looking at an extra sort of $800 on top of the US.
It'll be over 10 grand if you want the whole kit. The extras for the whole kit.
Then you're going to need the geometry.
Paul says AU7807. Where'd you see that, Paul? Where did you see it? Yeah. That sounds cheap. Or have you just done a conversion off the US pricing? Because their pricing is also pre-tax, pre-state tax usually.
Yeah.
Whereas our pricing includes GST always, so that can be a difference. So I'd be interested, Paul. Is that a conversion, or have you found it somewhere? Because that would be cheaper. It'd be $1,000 cheaper than our estimates.
So yeah, it's interesting pricing. Let me just look quickly at the Q3 price at the moment in the US, just because I think that's worth comparing it to.
Yeah.
Come on, keyboard, you can do it. Like Q3, we'll just go for the stock Q3. So that's 67. So the Q3 is 67.35. That's come down a bit because obviously when it came out, it was a lot more, and it has dropped a little bit.
In the US, you mean? No, so 67.35 US. In Australia, the Q3 is still similar to what it was, I think, which was about 11,000, just under. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me just check. So 10,990. That's the price that it's been. Oh, hang on.
Oh, it hasn't come down.
No, they've got it on sale at Diamonds though for 9,890. That's one of the few times I've seen.
Yeah. Okay.
On a deal. So yeah, maybe it's hard to know. Maybe it has come down a touch if there's a deal floating around.
Yeah. And it depends on where you shop and how you shop and all that sort of stuff.
Paul just converted it from the US 5K. Yeah, I think once you add our 10% GST and then whether there's any additional costs going through like the Australian distribution system, it's got to get in and out of those warehouses. That's expensive. Yeah, I don't know. I would be, I don't know. What do you reckon, Greg? Would you be pretty confident that it's going to come in at close to that GFX100RF price?
Yeah,
in Australia.
Yep. Because Sony cameras are more expensive in general anyway. They're a little bit more pricey than say, a Fuji. But you are buying premium. Sony make most of the sensors for most of the cameras we shoot with, so their sensor technology is supreme. Their autofocus performance is really hard to beat in specific scenarios. Canon R series have stolen back some of that autofocus glory, especially like with the R5 Mark II, and Canon can confidently say our autofocus performance is class leading, but Sony have been able to say that for a lot longer, I think.
I disagree. I just think maybe not in mirrorless, but I would argue that Canon were still they were beating them in terms of autofocus in DSLRs in the pro level, while Sony was making big strides in the mirrorless game, and then Canon was late to that party with a substandard autofocus for a few years until they actually got to the
So you do agree with me, is what you're saying?
Nuanced agreement.
Asterisks.
Asterisks. Let's get to some comments. Couple of quick ones. Lim 2001 Burger, otherwise known as Patrick, says, was interested in the Mark III until I saw the price. The recent high prices with new camera releases is certainly helping to curb my gas. I saw some other price comments too before I hang on. Let's go to, I want to read John Pickett's comment. Where is John Pickett? The Fuji GFX100RF still looks better for the price. Medium format, higher megapixel, better EVF, and a flippy screen. That's right. This thing doesn't have a flippy screen. It's like straight out of 2015. Oh, wait a minute. Not like these are designed to be sports cameras, so autofocus isn't a big deal in my opinion. Agree, but I would prefer, I would like faster autofocus on my Q3. I really would. That holds me back a little. Nev Clark says, all I'm saying, guys, is I just don't understand why you would do this camera. Yeah, it is really small, and I think that's hard without having it in. I remember the original one. I've seen it in stores. I've had my hands on it in Japanese camera stores, and it's markedly smaller than the Q3. I don't think that's a benefit to me personally. That the Q3 is well and truly small enough. I think because that's the thing, until it's thin enough to go in a pocket, like the Ricoh GR3, everything's a 3.
Yeah.
Until it's thin enough to go in a pocket, it doesn't make a big difference that it's, slightly smaller. In my opinion. It's because there's pros and cons to that too. Like the Q3 feels great in my hands. I don't know if this would, because it felt quite fiddly when I held the RX1R Mark II. It's quite a small camera to hold.
Small buttons. It's interesting that Sony have decided to beef it up a little with these accessories, granted at a significant cost, but small rig and Lensmate Online, they'll all make third party before long.
I don't think that strategy was about beefing up the camera. I think that strategy was like, everyone else seems to be making great money out of accessories.
Oh yeah, there's that too. Don't get me wrong. They wouldn't do it if they weren't making a buck out of it. I get that. And and with these prices, they're making more than a buck. But it's interesting that these brands, like when they did the XE4, they went, oh, actually the ergonomics isn't great, so we're going to offer you at an extra cost a thumb grip and a base plate with a grip on it. But it is small. The buttons are fiddly, but it is a good-looking camera. I got to say, it's clean, it's neat. This top plate's really minimal. It's got.
I don't know about
Fuji.
I don't know about a mode dial on a $9,000 camera when you could have a more useful dial for a manual shooter. Like who needs quick access to their modes? I don't know.
Yeah.
Am I wrong there?
Only menu systems are pretty shit. So, but they're complex. They vary stuff. So having access to a mode switch might be actually a saving grace.
True. I just think when you've got very limited manual inputs, a mode switch that if you shoot manual only, a mode switch is a waste of time.
Yeah,
it's a waste of space. Maybe you can customize it. I don't know. It's got all those icons on it, so that doesn't really make a lot of sense. So you've basically got an exposure compensation dial and a mode dial here. Oh, so they've wedged a little. That looks, but it's busy.
It looks awkward.
I wonder where the thumb grip goes there.
So it goes in here. It must.
I know, but where does it? You've got 3 dials and a menu, but that's cluttered. I know it's a small camera. I don't know.
It would have to. That's weird. Anyway,
stop throwing rocks at them. I'm not trying to be mean. I don't know.
No, when you're asking this much money, it's got to make sense.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make sense to you, then it's not for you. That's.
Yeah. Couple more comments. Where are we? This is interesting. Sony is doing a Toyota Lexus. I don't know. Like, as in having a higher priced, they're trying to introduce a premium brand, but they haven't introduced any kind of branding with this. They haven't sort of called it some sort of specific, more emotive or fancy line.
Sony Gold or something.
Yeah, some sort of fancy thing. So I don't know about that. And I guess if a company could pull it off, it would be Fuji and Sony. Sony doesn't have a lot of, in my opinion, Fuji's got quite an appeal, quite a brand identity. Sony's brand identity for me, and maybe it's because of when I grew up, is like TVs. And, they make great cameras. Car stereos. Don't get me wrong. They do make great cameras, but, and you could say Canon make great fax machines. But I don't know. It's just spending that much money on a point and shoot camera is harder for me for Sony than something like Fujifilm or especially Leica, because Leica's got that, look at me, I'm cool. I have a Leica thing about it.
But from my memory, the original RX1R and the Mark II, they were both kind of outliers. Like they weren't you know, they weren't sort of part of the alpha interchangeable lens, and they weren't part of that, the RX100s, 1:7s. They always sort of sat apart primarily because they were so high spec. And like I said, I think ahead of their time in that regards, but also the pricing. They've always been felt like out of reach to me. But yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's very interesting. A couple of other interesting comments. Obviously, yes, it's the same lens. Where are we? Jason, very interesting. They've decided that with that lens over a decade old that can handle the higher resolution. You know what's interesting? Everyone said that about the Leica 28mm with the Q3. They said, hang on a minute, this is the same 28mm lens that was originally introduced in the Q that was like 24 megapixels. We're going to see this lens not rendering enough for this. They should have updated it. Then they brought it out and everyone said, fuck, that looks awesome. And it wasn't an issue. And this could very much be the same thing. I feel like Sony probably quickly checked before they released this that the images look okay.
You'd hope so.
But I think there's been some comments about the fact that the lens, Jason says the Zeiss lens had nice rendering, but I think there were some comments about it being slow to focus.
Which is my concern.
The lens holding up the focus, not Sony's epic updated algorithm that I'm sure will be great and the process will be great, but can the lens move fast enough?
Yeah.
So you're concerned about that?
Yeah, I'm concerned about that. And, you know, we saw it with the X100 from Fuji when they finally, I think it was with the version 4, they upgraded to a Mark II lens because the original 23 f2 lens was just starting to get a bit slow on like the X100 Mark III. And then so they introduced a new lens, which I think is sensible.
Jason Morris in the chat. Hopefully, Jason, I'll get to see you at FrameFest this weekend. All honesty, I think Sony got a bit arrogant and forgot to innovate and move with the times earlier. Yeah. Highly possible. But do you think maybe they just redirected their resources more towards video creators and saw this line as something that they maybe incorrectly predicted that this line would not grow and that maybe it was dying and they just didn't stay with it. It's hard to know, but I do agree. They were having a lot of success during those times.
Yeah, it is interesting.
How much for an A7 CR and a 40mm prime? A lot less than this. But it would be a much bigger camera. Not much bigger, but bigger camera. Get the benefit of changing lenses. Get the benefit of IBIS, which is quite wonderful in my opinion. That's the other thing. Leica's got optical image stabilization. This doesn't. This has no image stabilization. It has digital stabilization for video modes only, I think Greg discovered. Yep. So yeah, so an A7 CR, it's on sale at the moment, but it's about 3,200. Yeah. So, you know, it's already significantly. If you were looking practically, you know, you could build a nice little camera kit with the A7 CR. Lenses for this kind of price. So practically, that's a way better option. You know, and then you've got choice, you've got flexibility. Yeah. But this isn't a practical camera unless you love 35mm. It's the only focal length you want to shoot. Yeah. Let's talk. Should we talk focal length? Because you love the 35mm focal length, but would you be happy with that? With that? To be stuck with that for $9,000, I think it's too narrow. No, but you've got a digital crop. That makes it narrower. But yes, it is. Sony have jumped on the digital crop. Look, I don't like with the 100RF, the GFX. You're not buying this for that level of flexibility. But you're buying the 100. It's got a 28. It's just that little bit wider that you can capture more of a scene, and then you can crop in if you need. And I'm just worried that a 35 it's coming in fairly tight for a fixed camera that you can't, so you can't go wider. You can always crop in a little bit with 60 megapixels. Would they have been better off redeveloping it? Yeah. Maybe putting starting at like 28 and then
cropping in.
It seems to be the sweet spot for the other brands, but also this gives it a point of difference.
It does give it, and it's in keeping, and then they don't have to reinvent the lens. Like they've got a lens that they know already works pretty well. And I'm sure they've tested the shit out of it to make sure that it actually will work with this processor and sensor and the focus algorithms. You'd hope it performs at that level for that price. I think it's, like I said, it's like with the GFX and the Fuji. Granted, the Fuji X100s, they're a 35 f2. It seems to be kind of a bit of a go-to. There's obviously a bit of a throwback to film cameras, often having a fixed 35mm lens of some sort. And Fuji have been rocking the X100 for almost a decade. No, more than a decade, I think. Anyway, I think it's been more than a decade now. So, and that's with the 35 f2. That hasn't changed. So I think people want it. Yeah. Whether it's the most practical or not, well, that's, but I guess with a camera like with a 35 f2 fixed lens, you're covering most genres that everyday people can shoot.
This is true.
And I think they're trying to harvest a bit more of the travel crowd, the EDC carry crowd, people that want a slick looking camera in their kit, in their Bellroy backpack or whatever it may be. That's who this is appealing to. This is an EDC delight, this camera. An EDC, for those that aren't initiated, is everyday carry. I'm a big fan. I love everyday carry items. And people like compact do-it-all cameras for that sort of purpose, which is why the X100 Mark VI took off, and the 5 took off so much when it did, because no one else was really offering anything at that level. And influencers...
TikTok.
Well, yeah, and the influencers loved it, and so they flogged the crap out of it. People wanted one because it looked good. It took great images. It had Fujifilm color, all that sort of stuff. So I think that this is what Sony is trying to capture, a little bit of that market.
It's interesting because it's like that the 5 and the 6, that's when that range, like, it really come into its own as a solid, mature camera offering that was extremely good. The early ones were great too, don't get me wrong, but like it was refined by that point, so that when someone on TikTok says, hey, this is the best camera ever, I don't imagine many people bought them and were disappointed with them. Because
by the time you got to the 5 and the 6, Fuji had refined their focus performance, they'd refined their processor and their sensor technology.
They had IBIS.
And it had IBIS in the 6. Like flagship performance and features and specs in an EDC carry camera, like, EDC camera. Yeah.
Do you think, okay, so let's talk about something else. No flippy screen, but they've changed it to a fixed EVF. Because the old one was like a pop-up EVF or something, wasn't it?
That's right.
So it's a fixed EVF, which I think is much better. It's going to be more solid. It's crappy EVF based on the specs. It's not a great EVF. No. But no flippy screen either. Fixed screen on the back, which is like even the bloody Leica's got a flippy screen now. Yeah. And they were one of the last holdouts for that kind of tech. Do you think that's a problem?
I do. No one's asking for fixed screens anymore.
No.
Like, we talk
like
to a lot of
flippy screen.
I don't like those articulating ones that come out to the side of the camera and then
you wouldn't do that on this camera.
Out. No, you would. No, that would ruin it.
Yeah, just
a flip up, even if it only flipped up 45 degrees, it would give you a little bit of flexibility in shooting from lower. If you're shooting, if you've got a perfect composition, but you've got light hitting that screen, and you need just to flip it up a little bit to get the glare off it, so you can compose your shot. But not being able to do that, it does limit it. What did we say the resolution was on the screen? The
screen's actually quite good. I think it's 2.7 million. I think the screen is quite
2-inch.
2.4 million
interface.
Where are you looking that up? Jason says Mark 1 had an add-on EVF. The Mark 2 had a pop-up EVF. That's right. Right. Pop-up's very cool, but obviously that's complicated to engineer, and I think it's a potential point of failure long term.
Pop-up flashes are the same in my opinion. It's just waiting to go wrong. They use a spring and
Yeah, I'm glad that they went this direction, because I also think an add-on EVF is something people don't want to pay for. And yeah, this is a great point here. This one will probably have much better eye relief on the EVF than the pop-up. And that's essentially, for anyone who doesn't know, eye relief is kind of like, I don't know, my Q3's in the other room. It's how much it kind of sticks out from the camera, and it makes it comfortable to get the eye cup close to your eye to block out, distractions and light. So you can
without having to sort of smush your face into it to create that kind of that vacuum of light. It's a 2.359 million dot screen, so that's actually really good. That's quite bright and punchy. Yep,
good back screen. Probably had to compromise on the EVF, I'm guessing, just to fit it in there.
Well, it's the same resolution, so that's good. Often one suffers over the other. I know it's not the EVF's not great resolution, but they're the same at least. But the lack of a flippy screen, I think, is a mistake.
It's half the resolution of the Q3 EVF.
Yeah, so that's
literally half. It's a lot, but it's a smaller body camera. It's a smaller camera. So I'm sure they had to make compromises to fit it all into that body. Whether that was the right choice, I don't know. Maybe it should have been a bigger body.
That's a point that we would need to talk about, because we felt, when we talked about the GFX100RF, there was this camp that said, it's missing stuff. It's only this lens, and it doesn't have IBIS, and it's only an f4, wasn't it? An f4 lens, fixed lens.
Yeah, it is only an f4, and it does have IBIS. That's why.
So all of the 35 f4, which is a 28mm full frame equivalent on that GFX, and people are like, well, it feels like they've made compromises. And my answer to those critics is that, they have. And yes, that's disappointing, but it's either that or you pay for a $14,000 camera instead of a $10,000 camera.
Potentially.
So that would be the trade-off, is that you're going to have to pay for it. And I think the other thing that we lose track of is that people often compare the price of new products today to products that came out like this well before COVID. Post-COVID, everything went up in price, and shipping especially became more expensive for a lot of companies. And, now we've got tariffs and all these other issues going on in the world that are impacting prices. The cost of this camera, say, compared to the Mark II, may feel significantly bigger. But, we've got there's been a lot of time has passed. There's so much has changed.
But comparing it to what else is on the market is what people are going to do. And they're going to be comparing it squarely with the GFX100RF, the Leica Q3, and ultimately probably the X100 at a far cheaper option that delivers very, very close. I know there is a big difference between full frame. I agree too. But
it's a fixed lens, so it's not like you're not really going to optimize that sensor by dropping on a 1.2, an f1.2 lens. You know what I mean? Like,
I just mean more so like the market's going to decide. Yes, obviously it's dearer than the RX1 Mark II. They've jumped the RX1R. They've jumped it up a lot in price, more than what inflation and tariffs and stuff would equate to. They've pushed it into a pricing point where they've probably just looked at the rest of the market and go, we think we can compete here. But to compete there, I don't know, it needs to be good. Because there are some Sony fanboys, but I don't think a lot of people are just going to buy it because it's Sony. Maybe I'm wrong. Any Sony people out there want to comment? Is this something where you just see it and you're like, I wouldn't even consider the other options because I'm Sony? That's what I shoot.
And I've been waiting for a better compact fixed lens camera, not a point and shoot necessarily, in more of a compact full frame camera. So
Patrick's got to go. Bye, Patrick.
Thanks for joining. Thanks for dropping in. Come back.
See you next time.
We miss you already.
What was I going to say? You know what else is interesting? I should go and get my Q3 so we can talk about it. But they haven't advertised weather sealing.
No, I noticed that.
I don't know.
Which is interesting.
I'm seeing it somewhere, but no, I wouldn't trust that website. I haven't seen on any of the websites anything about. Temu advertises weather sealing. So I don't know. That's another issue. Is the GFX100RF weather sealed?
That's a good question.
The Q3 most certainly is, and I've tested it, and it handled it all great.
Good question. I can't remember. Let's have a look. Oh, my computer keeps going to sleep. My keyboard. Weather. Yeah, weather resistance. Once the included adapter ring and filter are applied to the lens.
That was that was right.
That's the caveat, which is like the X100 Mark VI. Weather sealed, provided you put on Fujifilm's lens mount adapter and or lens ring adapter and filter.
Filter. Yeah, okay.
Fortunately, with the GFX, it comes with that in the kit to do it. So it's not like you have to buy more stuff to make it weather sealed. This time it's actually in the box.
I'm seeing here that the, not advertised as being weather sealed, but despite it having a magnesium alloy body, but we might see more about that.
Yeah.
You know, we might see
some
more details come out, but the
I don't think so, because
model,
the B&H site's pretty thorough. Like it's got a comprehensive spec list.
But maybe they haven't, I don't know, maybe they're going to release more later or something. But the RX1R apparently had some issues with dust and moisture intrusion, particularly around the lens and sensor.
That's always a risk with fixed lens cameras. You know, that if you get dust in there, it's a fucker to fix.
Hang on. If this is true, I don't remember this. Jason says, I recall Zeiss tried to make a similar camera, the ZX1, that had a built-in hard drive and onboard Lightroom. Took forever to come to the market and never took off. I don't remember that. Did that really happen? You have like a fold-out keyboard?
Like a what were those? Blueberries. Didn't the blueberries? Sometimes you had a little...
Blackberries.
Blackberry. What did I say? Blueberries. Sorry.
Blueberries.
Sorry. What is it? The Zeiss...
ZX1.
ZX1. Let's have a look. Zeiss ZX1 review. Petapixel, a DP review. Oh, yeah. Interesting. Let me bring it up.
All right, while you do that, I'm going to get my Q3 to prompt me to ask some more questions.
You do that, and I'll bring up this thing. Where'd it go? Here it is. I vaguely remember this camera, Jason. Yeah, interesting, isn't it? When did that come out? 2021. 37.4 megapixel full frame sensor and a fixed 35 f2 lens. So yeah, a lot of similarities to the RX1R. I was just saying, Justin, it is very similar in specs.
Yeah. Looks bigger for sure.
I mean, given
or is that just a trick of the eye?
Came out 4 years ago.
Didn't actually come out, did it?
Yeah, no, it launched. They reviewed it.
What?
It just didn't sell.
Doing?
I do say I do like the black and yellow.
That is kind of cool. I like that too.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. And yeah, 35 f2 fixed lens. Zeiss lens. So
I've heard Zeiss make okay lenses.
Yeah, they do okay. But you know, it's a pretty slick looking design for the era.
It's kind of like the first iteration on the Sigma BF.
Yeah.
You know, like they kind of went with that smooth design and
yeah. Interesting.
Oh, wow. Okay. Apparently it was announced about 3 years before it come out. So that's why, it took forever. And then maybe it was potentially, maybe it was outdated before it got to market. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Interesting.
There you go. So what have you got in your hot little hands?
Well, you know, this is the Q3. This is the competitor, I think. A lot of people are saying that it's still much more expensive. I don't think $1,500 or $2,000 is going to change people's mind. If you're thinking about spending, assuming we're talking about Australian prices, assuming it ends up being $9,000 Australian, which maybe it won't, but that's the calculations we're doing, our guesstimates. You know, $9,000 for a Sony RX1R Mark III versus $10,800 or under $10,000 on a deal currently from George's for a Leica Q3. They're in the same price point, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And as much as everyone wants to say Leicas are a bit wanky, and they are, the red dot does mean something to people, whether they want to admit it or not. Add to that, comes with a lens hood included. Okay.
And a red dot. You paid $8,000 just for that.
It is weather sealed. It has the 60 megapixel sensor. It has an epic 28mm f1.7 lens, which has been tested and proven to be an amazing lens. It has optical image stabilization, which is like IBIS, but old school for those that don't remember. So it does have stabilization. And it has a flippy screen. And an EVF that's twice the resolution. Yeah, it's a bigger body. It is, definitely. So if you want the ultimate compactness, the RX1R Mark III might prove to be the ultimate in terms of compact full frame, cameras. Yep. I think it will be the smallest. Is it the smallest?
I think it is amongst it. Yeah, it's pretty small. And again, it all comes down to compromise. You can get this smaller camera, but it doesn't have as fast a lens as the Leica.
Pretty close though, like 35 f2. That's not like when the GFX100RF at an f4, which is f3.2 equivalent full frame. Yeah. That's significantly slower. I'd put the f3, 35 f2. That's fast enough for me, in my opinion. It's pretty close, but it is not my preferred focal length. I prefer the wider focal length on a fixed lens camera.
Yeah.
So that's a preference thing. I don't know, but it's more just you're playing in a pretty high stakes game with the other competitors, and I just don't know if they've brought enough. That's why when I titled the thumbnail of this episode, it was like worth the wait. It's almost like if this camera had come out in 2019, it would have been great. But we're in 2025.
Yeah, lots has changed.
Mm.
And I just don't know what it would have cost Sony, because obviously we have no idea what goes into camera design, development, production, all that sort of stuff. But what would it have cost them to tweak the lens a little bit and call it a Mark II?
Like to be able to say we've revised the optical formula to have better performance.
Even if they tweak the autofocus system or something,
Even if they just lied to us and said they did, we wouldn't have known. We would have said, great, it's an optimized lens.
Just
It'll
put a little
better.
2 there and let the YouTubers work out the rest, let the YouTubers make the mistake. But
until Gordon, or I don't know, who does the really technical stuff? Gerald Undone. Until someone crazy got amongst it and done. Gerald Undone. Done.
But, it is a cracker of a lens, but yeah, it's yet to be, you can't tell from looking at it whether it's actually going to keep pace with Sony's latest algorithms, although it does have an AI focus performance chip.
Love AI. It's cool.
Love it. They have added a second chip in here that is, it's got AI printed on it, so it must mean something.
Must be good.
But it's apparently for improved focus performance. So maybe that's how they've compensated for an older lens, that they've just made the focus performance so tricked out that. I don't know.
And this is the problem with us speculating on a camera that's not out yet. We're speculating on whether the autofocus is going to keep up with the lens, or the lens is going to be able to keep up with the autofocus and stuff. Yeah. We don't know. We haven't used it, but based on everything that we're seeing, that lens wasn't fast to begin with at autofocusing. So if it's the same, it could be a bit of a struggle. Just quickly, Jason says, biggest advantage of the Leica, which is the Q3, is the true manual focus mechanical lens, and that is something that I didn't mention, and I absolutely agree. Shooting manual focus with this does feel like an M. It's solid. It's not decoupled to a twisty ring that doesn't feel, like you turn it from here to here. That's the focus throw. You know exactly where it is. Everything's mechanical. You can't see it because my Canon wants to focus on me, but it feels great to manual focus with. That is a big advantage if you're into that. Definitely.
Yep.
So if you're into that, you're going to be drawn to this camera probably anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
So which would you take? The out of those three cameras?
So what are my options?
Okay, so Leica Q3, the GFX100RF. I know you love Fuji, and the new Sony RX1R Mark III.
And what are my criteria? What are my boundaries? Cost doesn't matter?
Cost matters because that money, the extra money you'd have to spend on the Leica, maybe you could use on your thumb grip and stuff for the Sony. So cost matters, but you've made the decision to spend that much money on a camera, but it is your money.
Gosh, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because there's a compromise in every option.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm instantly drawn to the GFX100RF. I would buy that camera if I had the money. If I was looking for a point and shoot compact.
It's got no
fixed
IBIS,
lens.
Greg. It's got no IBIS.
I don't use
Every
IBIS
photo
anyway.
will be blurry.
No, it won't. It doesn't work that way, Matt Crummins. Anyway, keep in mind that Matt doesn't sit still. So he needs IBIS just in life. He needs chairs with IBIS so people can focus on him.
Matt probably thinks I'm making fun of him. I'm not. I'm actually very squarely on the fence of like that camera should have had IBIS. I think. I think it would be useful for the way that I shoot when I shoot those kind of images. I like to be able to get down to really slow shutter speeds without a tripod when I'm traveling. For me, that's a big advantage. So it's funny. I keep bringing it up. It isn't the be all and end all in cameras, but I believe for my personal use, it's very handy for the way that I shoot, which is often with these cameras. I'm not carrying a tripod. No chance.
It's very rare that I wish I had IBIS, but I don't like the idea of an f4 lens.
Yep.
To me, that's just sloppy shit. It really is. Like, it should not have been that slow.
Clip it. Oh my God.
Sloppy shit, Seb. It should not have been that slow. Like, at worst, go for a 2.8.
That would have been amazing, and it would have. We've said it. It would have made the camera. It would have made the lens bigger and heavier.
Expensive.
But it probably would have been a better overall camera, even with a bigger lens. But they said there are a lot of limitations.
You've got a 102 megapixel sensor, and you're running an f4. Like, come on, let's make the most of that and just get such insane sharpness with background obliteration. You know, like it's just there for the picking, but you can't because it's an f4.
I can't believe I've got a clip of you saying that the GFX100RF f4 lens is sloppy shit. I love that so much.
I think it is sloppy, and they did the same with that X100.
Well, yeah, I think
that lens is terrible.
I reckon that was a whole different team. That
I reckon they just plucked that out of one of those disposable snapshots. You know, the disposable 35mm film cameras, and just stuck it on it. That'll do. Anyway, what would I choose? Oh man, it's hard. I don't know that the GFX is for me. It's big. I don't like big cameras necessarily. If I was going purely on, if I was going for size and ergonomics, then I would go this, but I would get the grip and the thumb rest, provided that thumb rest didn't compromise controls.
Interesting. So you would choose this?
Yeah, I reckon, because it sits in that. I don't need 102 megapixels, okay, but I do like a fast lens. I'm not like an f1.2. You know, I mean, it's harder to get those in Fuji at a good price. I'm happy with an f2. F2 is my perfect speed in terms of aperture, max aperture. So this camera and lens really appeals to me for that reason. Okay, and I like 35mm, so I don't need to go wider like you. So, but I also like a flippy screen.
Well, I've got another question for you then. But first, jump to a couple of comments. If you're listening along, which quite a few of you are right now, please do me a favor. One, I'd love it if you subscribed. Please, please, please. Two, hit the like button. But if you can't be bothered doing either of those, that's cool. What I'd really like you to do is comment, what camera would you spend this much money on at the moment? Would you buy this camera or not?
Yeah, or if someone said, hey, here's 10 grand, you've got three choices. The Fujifilm GFX100RF, okay, this brand new Sony RX1R Mark III, based on what we know, or the Leica Q3, the standard Q3, which would you choose? Let us know in the comments. Well, maybe later on our socials, we'll put a poll up on our social media stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And while you do that, a couple of comments. Ecstasy Co. What's up?
Hey, Ecstasy.
Says the new Sony RX1R 3 looks really good. Exy Lim. Hey, Exy. The new Sony RX1R 3 looks really good. Good to have you both here. What's happening? Jason says Ecstasy and Exy Lim seem in agreement. Wrong account. Yep. All right. We'll get to, here we go. IBIS expands the shooting envelope into new areas of creative use, not just stabilizing a shot. I agree. And that's what
it can do.
That's what I use it for. I use it for two things. Well, one, I like to try and get some motion blur or something like that while being handheld without a tripod. I've actually used that and really enjoyed the shots that I've got from it while traveling. But also, I bet sometimes I have shaky hands and I move around a lot. I bet sometimes IBIS has probably helped me save a shot that might have had a little bit of motion blur introduced from like camera shake, handshake, as opposed to, because I was just being a bit casual with the way that I took the shot. I bet you, because I often try and sit at around that 250th, 320th, 400th, around there for a lot of my casual shooting to keep things sharp. But if I'm not, that's still, even though that's fast, I could still fluff a shot at 250th if I was really just casual with the way that I went about it. So I bet you it saved me a couple of times. All right. So there's a good question from John Pickett. We'll get back to that in a second. The question I have for you now, Greg, is your choices are the X100VI at its current price of 3,000, whatever it is, 2,800, something like that.
Yep.
X100.
Yeah, it's about 2,800.
All right. 28.99. These are your only choices are the X100VI or the RX1R Mark III. 28.99 for the X100VI. And I'm going to play a game. We're going to would you so with your options, you got two options sitting in front of you at the camera store. 28.99, this is your own money. Would you buy the X100VI or would you buy the RX1R Mark III for $9,000 Australian?
Poof, that's easy.
What?
I'd buy the Fujifilm X100 Mark VI, and the money I saved, I'd fly to Japan to do some photography.
All right. What if the RX1R Mark III was $8,000?
The RX1R Mark III, no.
7,000?
No.
6,000?
No.
5,000?
Hang on, are we talking about my money or your money?
Your money.
No.
4,000?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. So somewhere in that 4,000, 4,500 mark, that's where it would become a compelling option for you over the X100 Mark VI. I'm not talking about whether it's worth it or whatever. I'm talking about Greg's own choice. Just like, hey, this is my money.
Yeah.
The X100 Mark VI is a great camera. It's got a flippy screen. It's got IBIS, 40 megapixels, 35 millimeter equivalent lens, f2. It's hard to justify
that extra.
Cost,
well, the thing for me, for Greg, I predominantly shoot street and travel. I do some product stuff, but I've got a different camera for that. Yeah. And when we do events for, with Lucky Straps and for BFOP, and I use different lenses. But for a street and travel camera, I find it really hard to beat the X100 Mark VI for value, performance, features, and fun. I think that the X100s add this ethereal, fun, joy of photography element that a lot of brands get wrong.
Yeah,
there's a bit more heart in Fuji cameras, I find, than Sony cameras. Sony cameras are very technical, very specific, very dedicated. Whereas I find that there's a bit more, a bit more creative freedom in Fuji cameras, personally. Which is why I've gone with the brand. It works for me. It doesn't have to work for everybody. Some people out there probably hate the way Fuji files look. They just, whether they look different or not, they've just got an opinion that they hate the way they look. They're not detailed enough. But for what I do, a $3,000 camera is perfectly good, which is why I invested in the Fujifilm XE5 over anything else.
Yeah.
Because the XE5 to me is pretty much an X100 Mark VI, because it's got 40 megapixels, it's got IBIS, it's got the same processor, but I can put whatever lens I want on it.
Yeah, exactly. And that gets us into a whole different thing, which is also what John Pickett said here. So why not get a Sony A7R and then have better lens options? Still pretty small. Okay, let's explore that option. The A7CR. Did I say that right? A7CR. Which is their like rangefindery style 60 megapixel, isn't it? It's that same.
Yeah, it is 60.
Yep. So it's got
A7R.
What do we got? It's got an electronic viewfinder. It looks like it's a bit similar. 2.36 million dot EVF. So average EVF, not a good EVF.
The LCD is only 1 million dots.
Yep. So an older and a flippy, the non-good style flippy LCD, but still,
Is it?
you know, it works. It's the flippy at either side, not the good.
Yeah.
The good one. So it's obviously the benefits are you can put any E-mount lens on it, which there are tons.
Or any
Tons and
lens,
tons
because you
and
can get
tons.
adapters for Sonys for pretty much everything.
Yes.
But with a 40, if you go for a 40 f2.5, which is a G lens, it's 3,800 American US dollars. Sorry, because I think who was it that asked that question? Sorry.
Oh yeah. Well, it's
earlier.
it's $4,000 in Australia plus a lens.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a lot of money for a couple of nice primes. I'm trying to see what the weight is. Size and weight. It is. That's not right.
So the size of it in millimeters, in inches, it's 4.9 by 2.8 by 2.5. In millimeters, 124 by 71 by 63. And again, it's only 1.1 pounds, so it's the exact same weight for the body only.
Yeah,
as the new Sony.
Yeah, the RX1R Mark III, gosh, is actually lighter than the A7CR with that lens on it. Like as in with no lens, it's heavier with no lens. So there is a significant difference in the body, and packing stuff into something small does cost money. So
but that lens, that 40 mil, what did I say it was? An f2? Was it a 2.4? F2.5. So it's not terribly fast, but that's only 173 grams. It's not a huge.
No,
it is there. Like it will bump up the size, but it's not huge.
It's not huge. You could definitely live with it. But if you're looking for the optimum in size, then spend your money on spend $9,000. But anyway, drunk wedding photographers here. Hey, Moshi.
Hey,
good to see you.
Moshi.
It's that age-old thing that we've talked about everyone's talked about with every camera. People say the same thing about a Q3. Oh, why wouldn't you just get a this and a this and a that, one of them? I think, the magic that Leica have with the Q3 that's been the 28 mil, there's this thing that they can say where they say that's a $10,000 lens by itself. If you want to buy that lens for the M system, it's $10,000 for something roughly equivalent. And that's a big, despite whether that's a inflated price or not, that's a big selling point to people when they're thinking about investing in that camera, and they're like, gosh, I'm basically getting the camera for free because I want that Leica lens, that 28 mil high quality lens that normally costs $10,000. And again, that could just be it's a Fugazi. It's made up. It doesn't really matter. Ultimately, what matters is the pictures it takes, but it could help people justify in their head spending that much money on a fixed lens camera. Whereas what do people see for the equivalent of a Sony 35mm f2 lens? They think, oh, that's a lens that's probably worth $800. Like what do they perceive the value of that lens to be? Maybe. I don't know. Could be wrong there.
Yeah. I think there's There's a Sony 35-1.4. There's a Sony Zeiss 1.4. My internet's really bad. What else have we got? There's a 35 Zeiss 2.8. It's about 1,000 Australian. A 35-1.8, it's $1,000.
Yeah.
Or you can get the cheaper one for 600. So, you've got options. That's the other thing too, is that if you go with it, like with any fixed lens camera, you're committing to, if this is going to be your primary camera, you're committing to this focal distance and the limitations that offers you. Limitations are often, great for creativity because it makes you work with what you've got, but be very careful about choosing a fixed lens camera.
Yeah.
And understanding, if you already shoot, let's say you've got a zoom, let's say you've got a kit zoom, like a 24-70 or, something like that. Go into your Lightroom catalog, look at all the photos you've taken with that lens and look at where you've taken most of them at what focal distance. And then work out.
What mine says?
They'll all be at the wide end.
or often at the 70. It's so weird. You just oh geez, I better buy a 24 mil prime, or I'm like, oh, do I really actually want a 20 mil? Because I'm always like out as far as I can go, and I walk backwards or whatever. But anyway,
but it's a good way to work out what you're shooting and where and why.
Yeah.
And then you can look at the aperture you're using for most of your shots. Like you can really break down that data and then understand, okay, if I'm taking most of my shots at 35 at around like wide open at whatever your lens is, f2 or 2.8 or whatever it is, then you could cope with a fixed lens camera with a 35 f2. You're going to be absolutely fine, especially if you want to travel with it. You want something lightweight and compact. You want something discreet. You want something that's powerful enough to get what you want. And if you have to crop in on images, not necessarily in camera, but even later in post-production when you're editing, then you've got some bandwidth to move without losing too much image detail. But if you do that experiment and you find that, you're shooting mostly at 20 or you're shooting mostly at 70, this isn't going to work for you.
That's right.
What have we got here?
This is the lens they say that and whether it is or not, I don't know. Leica people will know more than me. That the Leica 28 mil, so it's the Summilux 28 mil. It's an f1.7 on the Q3, but this is an f1.4. This is what they say is the equivalent on the M series, and it's dearer than the Q3 is to buy just the lens, and that helps people get over the hurdle of buying that first Leica. And I think the Q3 or the Q2 or the Q was a lot of people's first Leica. It's like a gateway drug. Anyway,
well, it is, because we often refer camera. We often kind of compare camera brands to other things. Like someone earlier said, the Toyota, Lexus kind of model. We sometimes refer to Leica as, they kind of make the Rolex of the camera world.
Yeah, I tell people it's like buying a nice watch for yourself.
Yeah, and it's it's a statement piece. It's a treat, because it is a fucking treat. It's a big treat to buy a Leica. You feel good about it. It makes you feel inspired and energized. You feel like you've stepped up your game. But it is a treat. And maybe you're not ready for that level of treat. And if so, well, then start smaller and build up to it.
Yeah. Or you don't, or just it's not the right way to spend your money, particularly if you're trying to achieve something with your imagery that doesn't require that camera, you know? Anyway, a couple of quick comments. Philip Johnson, hammering home that same point, says, looks great, looks like a great camera, but I'm a landscape shooter, and if I had 10 grand to spend, it wouldn't be on a point and shoot. And that's the thing. Like, for most people, there's way better value out there. And that's fine. It's always been the same with this kind of category of camera. People would say the same about the GFX100RF. It's like, hey, I could probably get better landscape shots with something else. Probably.
And it's about where you want to spend that 10K. If you've got a interchangeable lens camera, let's say it's an older Sony, mirrorless, right? And you're happy with the camera, it performs well, the autofocus is good, but you're just not inspired by the image quality, then go and spend a couple of grand on a really nice lens for yourself. Make that your first treat rather than going to a fixed lens camera system. Like, go and get a beautiful lens, get a 1.2 and just rediscover your photography all over again. It will make the world of difference.
Or just invest in a really nice leather camera strap so that you can take your camera out more places and feel comfortable while you do it.
They help you connect with your craft.
Yeah. Anyway, it just, for those of you that are new, this show is brought to you by Lucky Straps, which is what we do. We make great leather camera straps, quick release, suit almost every camera, can be personalized, extremely comfortable. I like to say that they're
leather. They're beautiful.
And they're leather. We do wrist straps, shoulder straps, all sorts of stuff. We even developed a brand new style of camera strap when Canon first released the R5. We worked with them to release a custom camera strap for the R5 in Australia, and then also on the R5 Mark II. So we're trusted by Canon, we're trusted by OM System, we're trusted by photographers all over the world, just like you. So if you do want one, there's our ad read. Go and get amongst it. You can even use code Greg or code Justin for 15% off. Just pick your favorite. Yeah.
Greg it is.
Greg it is. What was I going to say? Comments. Project X says, hi. Hi, Project X. Where are you from?
Hey.
And do you like this camera? Jason says, I'd buy the RX1R Mark II for a couple of grand over the RX1 Mark III at 5 grand. And yeah, that's a fair point.
Fair call.
Yep.
Same lens.
Yeah.
Not much has changed.
Following up from that, that's a good point. Following up from that, as I think about it, I realize a lot of the things I'm looking for are nothing to do with sensor size. IBIS, Wi-Fi controls, weather sealing, handling, weight, optics, and general feel. That's exactly it. That is exactly it. And that's what really does make the X100VI quite a compelling camera, because they've over 6 generations, they've dialed in a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
That's why that, you know, again, like if this was if they were releasing the RX1R Mark VI, what would that camera look like? But it should be coming out in 2025, whereas based on the current maths, that's going to come out in 2050.
So we'll already have cameras embedded in our irises. So
and they'll be like, look, we've got the RX1R Mark VI, and we'll be like, what, dude? You know, I've got an ARRI cinema camera built into my Ray-Bans. You fool. What else we got? Again, if the tech doesn't also add to the philosophy of photography, then it becomes less important. This is also true. What are we actually doing? Tim Siamas, good to see you, Tim. Some nice listening material for my lunchtime run. Oh, good work getting out and amongst it at lunchtime. Go you. Love a new surprise drop, rewinding to the start. Okay, so you're not hearing us say this right now. Well, if you're still running when you get to this, because this is an hour and 15 and you're doing a great job,
well done,
keep
mate.
going.
We're proud of you.
Push hard. We're proud of you. Run, have a sip of water, and then keep running. Good job. What else? Exy says it'd be better to have a wide or a teleconverter to maximize the uses of the camera. I think it's like there's that as well. Like, are they going to have any lenses adaptery things
like Fuji did with the
Fuji
X100? Yeah,
but which is also, though, they do that, and then you think, well, why did you buy a fixed lens camera as well? And then you start to, you know, because those teleconverters always generally are not as good as having a dedicated lens in terms of image quality. Usually,
they're more just a magnifier with a front cap to protect it. Yeah, with a front lens to protect it.
Yeah, so then you're carrying around something else. You might as well be carrying around a couple of lenses, and in this case, an A7CR and a couple of primes, as opposed to getting this and teleconverter. So maybe it's not worth making. You know, maybe it's like, hey, you want a 35? This is the camera. You want a range of lenses?
This is not the camera.
Buy a different camera. Yeah.
Although there is a lot of appeal to, you know, sticking, and there's that sort of fanboy service, isn't there? Like X is a fanboy. He's got an X100 Mark VI. And he's also got the teleconverter, the wide. But, you know, he's kitted up because it's already got a retro look. So he drops this teleconverter on it. He's got a leather half case. He's got a strap. You know, he's kind of made it into his kind of go everywhere camera. And plenty of people do that. But I had when I owned one of the X100s, I've owned the first three or first four, can't remember. And first four, sorry. And I had the wide teleconverter. And I just found that I just wasn't using it. You know, it just didn't gel with me, and that's fine. It's just, you know. Anyway, so people in the chat, if you were using Justin's money, what would you buy? Would it be the GFX100RF? Would it be the Leica Q3, or the other Q3 with the, what is it, a 43mm equivalent?
There's the 43 the Q3 43 or whatever they call it. Yeah.
Or would you go? What? Hang on, did I miss them? Or the Sony RX1R Mark III? What would you buy if Justin said, "Hey, want a treat?"
Want a treat? Yeah. So pretend you won a photography competition, and Lucky Straps are giving you your choice of those 3 cameras. You can just pick whichever one you want. And while you guys are thinking about that, Rudy is in the chat. Hey, Rudy.
Hey, Rudy.
Rudy says, "Hey, this is Rudy from California. Thanks for joining us. Whereabouts in California? SoCal?
I've got a few folks from California.
NorCal? Middle-Cal? I've been in the photography business for over 60 years. That's epic. Well done. We'd love to talk to you one day about your journey. That'd be cool. You want to come on the show? Yeah. I have a Q3 and the A7CR with the 40. Wow. So tell me, like, which one do you prefer? Why do you have both? Is the RX1R Mark III in any way compelling? Because you've got 2 very sort of similar cameras in that range that we've been talking about. Like, what do you think? Is this something you would consider? John Pickett, the most expensive Leica possible with Justin's money. Good choice.
Yeah.
Jason says the the 43, the Q43. Okay, so you like that focal length and you like the Q. Why? Tell us why. Yeah. And Rudy's in San Jose. Which way is San Jose? That's south of LA. Yes?
I don't know. California at all.
California. I didn't go there. I know that, which means...
Another question for the chat.
Bring it up while I'm looking at it myself, just in case anyone's interested. I'm just curious.
If you were looking at picking up a second camera body and you thought, oh, maybe I should get this Sony or a fixed lens system, would you get that, or would you opt for a second interchangeable lens body to already use the lens range you've got? Because I know a lot of people, especially in sort of more professional fields, they'll have a complete kit and then they'll have like a Q3, like Justin has. Justin's got a Canon kit and almost every Canon lens that has ever been made, but he also has a Q3. Rudy's just said that, you know, he has the A7CR, A7CR?
Yep.
That one, plus a Q3, you know, and so a lot of people will get this smaller, compact fixed lens system as a runaround everyday carry camera. But what would you do? Would you get a fixed lens? Would you get a second interchangeable body? And I know that's going to be situational, but yeah, let us know.
Yeah. Okay. So I did go near San Jose when we went. Yeah, we basically went. We stayed night in Santa Cruz, and then we went basically to San Fran. And we didn't quite go across. I actually don't think we went even through it. Fremont, Livermore, good gym in Livermore. And then, yeah, we drove over the Golden Gate and heading up to Yosemite.
Very cool.
Very, very amazing area. Very expensive, I think, to live there. I don't know about your location specifically, but like just that general San Fran, Santa Cruz, all that. It's beautiful. The beaches are beautiful. Okay. Rudy says, I love my Leica. The images are very different. Philip says, Justin's money, go with the Q3. This is the thing. And this is where I think it's a lot of people are saying, oh, there's still a big price difference. I think when you're playing in that price range, there's a lot of people that are like, gosh, if I was going to spend 10 grand Australian, we're talking because we're in Australia. If I'm going to spend that amount, I really want the Q3, you know? It's got that.
I think it just ticks a few more boxes too in terms of specs and performance.
Yeah, it's like, do you want to buy the Porsche, or for almost the same amount of money, do you want to buy the Toyota that performs as well as the Porsche does? And Toyota are like, hey, it's exactly the same, and they're like, yeah, but you know, it's not.
But you're using the same wheels you used last year.
Yeah, they're the wheels off the 2015 Porsche. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Jason says, I'd choose the Leica for the real Summilux lens with manual focusing, correct zone focus ability, and the look of the Leica files. And trust me, those Leica files, the JPEGs are fantastic. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And the RAWs are great to work with. The only problem I have with Leica is I'm having a real problem getting the RAWs to look like the JPEGs, but so that I can then tweak from there. I really struggle with that. I can't do it in Lightroom. If anyone's figured it out, let me know. I want the Leica. What do I want?
So like Lightroom doesn't have a Leica look preset that replicates the RAW, the JPEG.
Nothing that looks the same as it.
Wow, especially
their new Leica looks that they're introducing. Vivid, and I really enjoy, I can't remember what it is that I use, and now I think my battery's flat, so I can't even check it. The one that I shoot in most of the time, and I just can't get it to be the same. I can get them to look great, but they're not the same, and I'd rather start from what I'm seeing in camera, because I often shoot JPEG and RAW. Yeah. But then it's hard to sometimes get what you want out of a JPEG in a high dynamic range scene. So
yeah, true.
Rudy says, yeah, it can be hard. So, you know, you shoot to then what you know you can get out of the file later is what you always do with RAWs. And then when I do that, I have to start from scratch and I'm not getting that look that I want. straight out of the JPEG. It's Anyway, it's a battle, and if anyone's figured it out, please let me know. Rudy, have you figured it out? Rudy says, I also work for a camera store and need to work to pay my bills here. Very expensive. Yeah.
You're doing well to still be working in a camera store after 60 years of taking photos.
It sounds like you would be the person you want to walk into a camera store and ask. Like you've got multiple great cameras. You've been shooting for 60 years. That's who you want to talk to at a camera store.
Yeah.
John Pickett says, depends what I'm wanting the second camera for. If it's a backup, I'd get a camera in my current system. If it was something for travel or EDC type thing, the X100VI is hard to go past. And that's the thing. When you're talking real money, real money of your own pocket, it's really hard to justify triple the cost for these other cameras.
Yeah.
With the tariffs, it's about to get even more expensive, Jason says, not to get political. Yep. Leica files are amazing though. Yeah. The Leica files are amazing. And this is the thing, this Sony, this RX1R Mark III, gosh, I've said that too many times this show, should have insane raw files, the same as all of the other 60 megapixel Sony sensors.
Yeah.
Will it have the JPEG magic that Leica's got currently? No idea. Probably not, but no idea.
I don't. Sony files don't inspire me. JPEGs don't inspire me like others do. They're very clean. They're very technical. They're great. They've got great dynamic range and all of that sort of crap. But I don't know. They just lack a bit of heart.
Bit of soul.
Heart and soul.
Because
man, I'm all about the feels.
Ectarius, great username and great profile picture too. Ectarius says, I'm not the most informed on camera specs, but it really does piss me off that they made it $5,000, and that's $5,000 US. And I think that's what a lot of, so I was like trawling on the Reddit threads in both the Sony Alpha Reddit, subreddit, and the R photography. Like the vast majority of the comments are just, it's expensive. Everyone's saying it. They're like, there's a lot. That price. But they were saying that. They said that about the GFX100RF. The price was a big thing, but there was also a lot of compromise. Do you think that there is as many compromises in the RX1R Mark III to the GFX? This is the thing with the GFX. It did something no one's ever done before. True. 100 megapixel medium format sensor in a tiny camera. This is the version 3 of a camera that the version 2 came out 10 years ago almost. It's a different thing. People have no one had any expectations of the GFX. There was rumors floating around. They were disappointed with the lens, as you are. Some were disappointed with the lack of IBIS, as I am. But ultimately, it did something that no one's done before. It's very cool, and it's for some people only. And I think this camera is dearer than the Mark II by a lot. Not just the amount of general inflation over the past 10 years. It's jumped up further from there, probably because of tariffs, and probably because Sony were like, why wouldn't we play in this space? Why wouldn't we play in the same space as these other cameras that have similar specs? Yeah. So, I don't know.
And it feels, I don't want to say it, like you said, when Fuji brought out the GFX100, no one had done it before. People had wanted it, and that was the thing. People were asking for it. Yeah. They wished that there was an X100 version of a GFX, and they did it. To their credit, they did it. But this one, people were expecting at some point for Sony to re-enter this market. Like, they were successful in the past, why wouldn't they? So at some point, because Fuji are doing it, Leica has been doing it for ages, other brands are wanting to get into it. And it feels like a little too late. They've re-entered at a time when most people are no longer interested in shooting with that sort of camera, or they've moved on to another system, potentially. And it's a lot of money.
I think you might be right. It might be too late for them to establish any kind of dominance in this segment. Yeah. Now that there's so much history from other players and a big 10-year gap of history from Sony, they've lost their momentum that they had. It is an iconic camera, those original ones, and people always kept talking about them. The amount of articles that are out there of like, will they ever do this, the next version of this?
Cracker of a camera.
But it just dragged on so long. Maybe COVID was a thing. Maybe they were thinking about doing this in 2020, and then it was like, hey, let's shift all resources away from this because it's not a priority for us. When they were when everyone was having production issues and supply chain issues and stuff like that. Yeah. Who knows? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I don't think they're going to. This isn't a big enough win for them to claw this segment back to being or
not with this generation anyway.
Nah, if they had come out and did something really special, they could have really made some waves. But and it's okay. So Ectarius, actually, first, let me cover your first comment. Just joined. Sorry, if you are just joining, it's awesome to have you here. We've been going for an hour and a half already. This is what we do. We talk about stuff. We have the live chat going. Sometimes we do camera reviews that we've actually had our hands on. This time we're just throwing stones from over the fence because we haven't had our hands on it because it only got released today.
And it's so easy to do.
It's so easy to do. But we also do interview photographers every single week on this show on Thursdays in Australian time. Amazing photographers from all over the world, mostly from Australia at the moment, but we are expanding. We've got some good ones in the works. We also do a Monday night Australian time show, which is not as good for you US folks, but that's when we talk about random stuff. So if you've just joined, you can always go back and listen to this from the start, but you might as well stick with us now, stay live for a little bit, and then you can go back and listen to from the start whenever you want. You can also listen later on our YouTube channel, obviously, but also Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those things. Just search The Camera Life. You'll find us.
And folks, just to reiterate, we do every show live. So we want you in the comments. We want you asking questions. We want you throwing shade at things or at other people or even at us. We're here for it because this is how we differentiate. We're available to you guys. We're very community focused here at The Camera Life. And we want to hear what your thoughts are. There's no point you tuning in just to listen to us just rabbit on about our thoughts. We want to hear about you too.
We don't know what we're talking about too.
No, I've never even taken a photo.
Ectarius, great username again. Do you think the price will kill it? At the end of the day, photographers will pay whatever, but I really think this one's on the line. And I think you're probably right. I think Sony found the line. I think if this was dearer, everyone would be like, no way. I think if it was cheaper, it probably could have been a bigger hit. And they've found the line of the balance of like profitability. Will people buy it? Won't they buy it? They've priced it right on the edge, probably for multiple reasons. Will photographers pay it? I would have said no because of the current economic climate, how expensive everything's getting. But I don't understand. People just keep releasing expensive stuff and it sells out. So
the GFX is selling well.
I didn't think the GFX100RF would sell. I thought it was a great camera for them to release, but I thought it was going to be a tough sell.
They can't make them fast enough for the US.
They released that X100, which is barely a camera, and that sold. So I don't know. I have no idea, but I would think that it might be a bit of a tough sell given Sony don't have the momentum behind this category to be really something people are going to desire, like really have that strong desire for.
And also shadow dropping a product like this that hasn't been around for over a decade. I don't know that was the wisest marketing move.
I agree 100%.
They should have built hype. They should have built hype. A classic is on its way back.
Exactly.
They really could. And Fujifilm have been doing this a little bit more where they show these sort of silhouettes.
Teasers.
The rangefinder is on its way back to you. It's
get it in the hands of, they put this thing in the hands of the GFX100RF I'm talking about. Street photographers, John Street, they filmed, he shot thousands of photos with it, street photos. What they designed it for, they said, here, go and use it. Let's make a video with you. Let's have example photos from you. They could have done that even just with a handful of great street photographers, even if it was they were just like, hey, we just keep this in Japan. We'll keep it, keep it really tight, couple of people. And I know they've made their own videos, but I think you need to go that next step to where
it feels lazy.
Well, I think it was potentially a rushed release because I think, let's talk the real.
Yeah.
I think that they've seen the success of other cameras in this segment and they've rushed back into the market.
Yeah.
possibly with an underdeveloped version 3, compared to what would be possible with all of Sony's engineering might. I think they possibly could have done something a little bit cooler. And I
The
think
fact that the lens is now over a decade old.
Yeah. Wait, so's the Q3's lens. So,
Well,
you know.
Not really, because they updated it for the Q3, but this is the same lens they had on the previous camera.
I don't think they did update it. Did they? I think the Q3 is just the same lens.
As the Q2?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was an update.
No, I'm pretty sure it's just the same. I don't know. I might have got it wrong, but yeah. It's anyway. What I'm getting at is, where was I going with that?
Sorry.
I think it's okay. It's like I just think they might have rushed it back into the market because of the success these other cameras are having.
Yeah.
They would have seen the stats, map camera releasing stats, like, oh gosh, they're selling tons of these, they're selling tons of those. Maybe Sony were like, we got to get this thing to market ASAP. We don't have time to do the 6-month lead up campaign, getting it out to people, doing all this stuff. Let's just get it in people's hands. The reviewers will still do the reviews. We'll still sell the cameras. Let's just go because we don't have time. Maybe.
Or they were just purely arrogant and thought people will buy this because it's Sony. They love our stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
Everyone's been asking for this to come back. They'll just buy it.
Maybe they're changing their release strategy. You know, like that FX2 just kind of come out.
Yeah, it did. That shadow drop too. That wasn't really. It was rumored. It was bound to happen eventually, but you know, you could say that for every camera. But it's interesting. Interesting just to drop it. And like you said, even Petapixel were caught off guard. And usually they're the first ones to drop a video review or a preview.
Yeah. They're
Petapixel, Kaiman Wong, who else? That 3 elephant and a man. Is it 3 elephant and a man or 3 men and an elephant? 3 blind
elephants.
You know what I mean?
That guy.
Yeah. There's a core group that always get the first release reviews.
Yeah.
You know?
We'll never get those.
No, we're still young.
I think we might be too honest.
Yeah, maybe, but it'd be brutal.
I think we were a little bit too honest to get anyway. We'll see.
To get the glory. Anyway.
Nah, I don't want the secrets. I don't want it's easier when we don't have the secrets. We can talk about whatever we want.
Yeah. Because remember, because for those of you that watching, I often get sent cameras for review. I review cameras for a website here in Australia. It's actually a global website called ShotKit, shotkit.com, sorry. And often I get them before launch and I'm under embargo and, it'll come up in our podcast here and I have to stay tight-lipped about it. I can't break that. I've got to honor the embargo, obviously.
I try and get the info out of him, but he
does.
It's very difficult. But I'm like,
he knows me well now.
Greg's like, I don't have a camera. I'm like, dude, I've seen the rumor sites. I know there's cameras. What is it? And he's like, don't have one. It's fun. It's a fun game that we play. Whereas I am not a camera reviewer. I'm a photographer and I make camera straps. And I don't know. I'd buy the products and then review them and then sell them again. Yeah. It's a lot easier. No expectations. Anyway, let's have a look at a couple more comments before we call this thing. We won't be on too much longer, so if anyone has any comments or questions, throw your 2 cents in. Rudy says camera prices getting ready to increase from every camera company. I would absolutely believe that in the US.
Some already have, including Sony.
Thought the OM3. Jason says that thought the OM3 looked like a veritable. It was overpriced, but it looks like a veritable bargain compared to some of these recent new releases. I agree. Ectarius, they had their time with their first couple of cameras. This is Sony's talking about. Yet companies like Fuji have really taken the lead here. Yeah, I agree. I think that, and now they're going to have to play catch up, and it can be done. I just don't know if this was the statement that needed to be made. But again, everyone said that, like when Canon come into mirrorless and they had the EOS R and everyone was like, really? This is what we waited for to get into mirrorless? Was this kind of like not quite as good as the market already mirrorless? But they got there. It just, they just had to start running and they eventually got there.
Yeah.
What else? Lim 2001 Burger is back. Hey, why isn't this? Hey. There we go. I'm back. Good to see you. And goes on to say, when I think about the prices and how these cameras are still selling well, makes me think that maybe I'm the only one that's poor. No, don't worry. We're all poor, or we buy a Q3 and then we're poor. But at the end of the day, we're all poor. Just might be poor with a Q3 sitting on our desk.
All of these prices cause us cringe.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we all feel a bit, can't do that.
It is actually a good point to be made of like, do not think that you need to be spending this kind of money on a camera. These really are, as Greg said before, a treat. And if you want one, great. I treated myself. I'm probably going to sell the Q3 sometime soon because having that much money sitting around not getting used as much as I'd like kind of hurts. Yeah. It was a treat. But you do not need it. Don't let YouTube videos or podcasts like this make you feel like you need something like that to be a proper photographer or anything, an artist or something, or just that you've got the best thing. You don't need
Like I said earlier, save your money, keep the camera you've got, treat yourself to a nice lens. Spend $1,500 on a new lens. There's your treat. And just use the crap out of that lens, re-explore your photography with a new focal distance and a new aperture like you haven't before. That in itself is a treat. Save that money, buy a secondhand Gen 2 or Gen 1 and go on a trip somewhere.
That's what I was going to say. Better yet, buy nothing. If you've got some equipment, something, go on a trip, even go on a cheap trip, go on a road trip. Yeah. Take hundreds of dollars and just drive and stay in the cheapest motels that you can and take photos and then come home when you run out of your budget. If you can get time off work.
Or if you've got a little budget and you want to do something creative with your photography, don't buy new gear, go to a workshop. If you've never done astrophotography, book into an astro workshop.
Yep.
It will just blow your mind what you can achieve with dark sky photography that you've never really probably done before. So, it's just another tool. It's like any carpenter has a toolkit, and it's, a hammer is still a hammer. Still going to put a nail in. It's just how quick do you want to do it?
Yeah. Lim 2001 Burger. I know your name's Patrick, but I really like the username.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's cool. Full credit to Sony for at least trying to keep up with the market and what they're asking for. I agree. That is true. Like, I'm glad they did it instead of not doing it. Other cameras are still making vlogging cameras. Yes, I agree. I think that might... I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think they might be chasing vertical content, a vertical content market that's going to be disappearing as wearables become more common. I've said it here. I'll say it again.
Yeah. Heard it here first, folks.
I think they're going to chase vertical image making only for vertical to slowly disappear over the next, I'm going to say 5 years. We'll see. This podcast will be still going. Ectarius says, bro, honestly, the XR being released now at that price was a big mistake. It's what people wanted, except the price was just too high for what it is. Not related, but yeah, I agree.
No, it is related. It is another point of people trying to enter into a market or create a market, and they can't. I think hopefully the Mark II is better.
Yeah. Yeah. Lim 2001 Burger is going to treat himself to a holiday instead. Good choice. Him, her. Oh, Patrick. Him. He's going to treat myself to a holiday instead. Perfect. Rudy says the camera is a piece of metal, doesn't know what you know. Agree.
It's a good way of looking at it, yeah.
Yeah. Ectari is going to treat myself to the new XE5 because I currently have a Nikon D5100. Do you want to give him any tips, Greg, about it?
No, you're a fucking champion. That's going to be a killer. That camera is going to outsell so many systems. Yeah. It's just going to be a killer. It's going to be such a fun camera. Yep.
That's another great option in this not in this category that's kind of in this category. If you put the right lens on it, like it's not, but if you get really, everyone says, I want a fixed lens camera, you can open it up to the point of like, okay, what non-fixed lens cameras with compact lenses are a possibility, and that is one of them, and that's a great camera and so XE4, expandable. When's your XE5 arriving, Greg?
Sometime in August. I haven't set a date. So this is the XE4 with the 27mm pancake, and that's my big Australian hand. American hands are smaller, but that's my big Australian hand. That's got the grip and the thumb rest on it, and it's interchangeable lens. Everyone thinks it's an X100, but it's not.
Was that thumb rest $300 US?
Nah, it was only a couple of $100 for the two, if that. Anyway.
What else we got? Ray-Ban meta quality is not bad. Yeah, I really want to play with some of those at some stage, but I haven't bought
Talking to a friend of ours, Lucinda Goodwin, couple of weeks back.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that episode, roll back and watch it. And she talked about how she used wearables while she's shooting. So she shoots concerts, but for her kind of B-roll stuff and for her social media stuff, she has her wearables instantly recording while she's doing photographs. So it actually gives like a bit of a behind the scenes view of what she's doing without her having to set up a separate camera. It's really clever.
Yeah, it's very cool. I want to play with it, but I've been spending way too much money lately, and I need to rein that in. My printer is supposed to be arriving any day now. We'll unbox that on Monday's show. Canon ProGraph 1100 thing. Ictarius, I like the lens that it ships with. Yeah, the pancake
The 23F.
lens, 23mm, 35 equivalent. I like Fuji, but I don't want to pay a large price for the X100 and stick with one lens. So yeah, it's a great choice.
Yeah,
you picked right, perfect choice. XE5, not weather sealed, no joystick. Is that true? No joystick?
No, I think it's got a joystick.
I thought it had a focus
got
selector.
the little knob. Yeah,
I mean, Jason knows his stuff though, so
he does. Yeah, it's hard to argue with Jason.
And it's not weather sealed. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. But only babies need weather sealing. No, it's got a little focus lever. It's got a little joystick. It doesn't have the old circular selector wheel. Wasn't really a wheel on Fujifilm cameras, but it does have the selector stick on the back for focus and menu and all that sort of stuff. So that's
not a little joystick nub for focus point selecting.
Well, Fujifilm's version of it, yeah.
Oh,
Which is, and I've got that on here, I think. Yeah, it's the same one.
Oh, yeah, I thought it had something like that. That's cool.
It's got that little nubbin.
A little nubbin. That's
It's not quite a nub. It's more of a nipple.
A nurple.
It's a focus nipple.
A focus nipple.
You heard it here first, folks.
Maybe that's another T-shirt we can get made. We need to get T-shirts made. I can't think of any design. So unless one of you legends out there sends me a design into my email, which I'll pay you for, justin@luckystraps.com.au, we need to make Camera Life T-shirts, and I think I'll just use the logo maybe because I don't know. We need some T-shirts and some hoodies. It's winter over here. It's cold.
Yeah.
I stand corrected. Yes, you do. It
That's
does
okay.
it has a focus.
You were half right. Half right.
Ray-Ban and camera glasses have definitely improved a lot. I watched Casey Neistat vid from when Ray-Ban first released. Big leap in 5 years. Yeah. And it's coming fast. Like that stuff I think is going to come really fast. And I think what we will also see is rapid adoption of wearable like Apple Vision, but they're going to get better and better wearable displays, in which case vertical content will no longer have to live in our pockets in our phones. It can be, it'll no longer have to be vertical. It can be way more immersive, much wider. Yeah. I'm predicting the return of panoramic photos. You heard it here first. It'll happen. Because at the moment
right,
you take an epic pano and then post it on a vertical phone screen.
Yeah,
it's like
no, I think you're right, but I think in general, like we saw with the GFX, they introduced that ultra wide aspect ratio of the old film camera. That took up, what was it, 3 or 4 frames of a.
But where do we post it? What do we Where do we display it? Posting it is even bad. The fact that that's what I say, as in photos are to be posted. Where do we display it? Unless we can print it. Where are we putting these photos?
Yeah. Unless you print it, I think it's lost.
How good would a virtual gallery be that I can invite? So I could set up a gallery virtually, and I can invite everyone that watches this podcast to step into my virtual gallery. I could be hanging out in there and actually talk to you, and we can see huge digital prints of images from like a small collection. So instead of having to, pull together an exhibit that costs thousands in a physical location that none of these people watching the podcast can come to because they're from all over the world, I can just invite 20, 30, 40 people to a digital exhibition that they wear their goggles to come into.
And people can just tap to purchase. They can just tap on the print they like and they can order one, rather than you having to, because a big part of the cost of holding an exhibition is actually printing and framing your works. And hoping that you sell them to recoup the costs. Yeah, but this way, people can just order en masse whatever they like.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know. It's a dream and I hope it comes true, or some version of it. Often we think about the future and we can only base it on what we've been told, what, like current tech, and then trying to iterate on it. And sometimes things come out of left field that we don't even see coming. And you can see that sort of stuff when you watch old videos like RoboCop and, videos from the 80s about the future. And they're like, they just had no idea how it would evolve, even in this short term, like 2025 versus 1980. There's tech that we have that they couldn't even predict in those sort of futuristic movies. So that's pretty cool. Like, what's that other one? Demolition Man? Is it Demolition Man? It's a great one. I've never
seen that.
Yeah.
I remember because I used to work for Optus, which was, until a few years back, was the second Australian telecommunications provider. So we did mobile phones, smartphones, and pay television. But this is in the early days when smartphones were still analog. That's how old I am. And I remember someone came, I don't know if they were from Apple or some big company, came to do a talk to us at work about the future of mobile phone technology. And none of us believed him. He was talking about watching videos on your phone and being able to do video calls with people and commerce. And we just, because we were all running around with these old Nokias, with the green screen, you could play Snake and that was about it.
Mm-hmm.
That was at that stage. And now look at us. Like there's nothing you can't do on your phone.
Yeah.
We've just set up smart lighting in our home, and everything is now on an app. It's just, the technology is just leaps and bounds. Anyway, I sound like an
fun.
old man.
It's fun, the smart lighting, isn't it? Check this out.
Oh, it's so good.
Look at it. Oh, yep. This one's based on Bahrain for F1 track. Look, I'm going to Cancun. Yeah.
Ooh.
Tropical twilight. Now back to my colourful podcast lighting that was a happy accident that I didn't want, and now I'm keeping it. All right.
I think it's great. You're sporting pride.
Couple of comments, and then we'll get back to cameras before we wrap the show up. But DigiFrog, hey Dave.
Hey Dave.
See ya. From Tasmania, says Camera Life underpants. I'll see what I can do. We'll probably just stick
are you
t-shirts.
Boxers or a brief man?
Yeah,
or a G banger, or a G banger. Where would you put the logo?
I'll see what I can do. Yeah, where would you put the logo? What else we got? X-pan ratio does look great, and the GFX has the resolution to do it. It does, and it's got the native cropping. Canon, please. It's just a firmware update. Give us more native cropping aspect ratios in the camera so I can wander around and pretend I'm shooting an X-pan, please. Because 16:9 is just a video format. Give me like a really wide panoramic crop. Give us option. It doesn't have to be limited to just 5.
Yeah.
It's just software. In camera, it's just software. Because then it applies to the JPEGs. The RAWs have the cropping frame lines in Lightroom, so it comes in cropped, but the whole image is still there. That's what happens when you select, APS-C crop mode in the R5 Mark II. It crops in, comes into Lightroom cropped, but it's all still there. You can zoom back out. You can change it. But give us, so we can see when we're wandering around through the EVF, this way that we want to see the world. Help me be more creative. Please give it to me. Costs nothing other than a bit of dev time. Put it in all your cameras. Come on. You need to catch up.
Lift your game.
And this goes for any of the other brands that don't do it too. I don't know if Sony does it or whoever. It's basically only Fuji and who else? Panasonic. Lim 2001 Burger says Panasonic has the 65-25 crop, I think. Don't know. Rudy says, I just got a pair of, I don't know what's this. What's Vitua glasses? Pretty good. My image is in 3D. Wow. I don't know what those are. Have you heard of those?
No, I haven't heard of that brand. I've been seeing some brands, because I'm a gamer, plays a bit of Switch. There's a company that does, a couple of companies now, plus 1,000 Temu versions, that do these glasses that basically create like a cinema-sized screen, but in your glasses.
This is for Switch too, Greg. I'll pull it up. This is exactly what these Vitua ones are.
Might be that, yeah.
Oh my gosh. It'd come up with a pop-up. I don't even know what it is. I don't want it to pop up yet. Whoa. Okay. Let's see if we can get a visual on these. Yep. The best just got better. The Vitua Luma series. Wow, look at the imagery. Whoa. Our website's so outdated compared to this. But we do make leather camera straps as opposed to really technical glasses. So I guess that's fine for our website to be a bit more chill. Look at that controller.
4D. What's 4D?
What's the extra dimension? Smell.
Maybe it sprays water on you if you're watching porn.
Yeah. Rodney Nicholson says, I'd love a waterproof set. I assume you're at the current part of the show. Why would they need to be waterproof, Rodney?
Yeah, what's going on there, Rodney? I know you live by the sea and you're a sea dog, but come on.
Ectarius says, I know about those. I've been thinking about getting those cinema glasses. They seem cool, but kind of limited in use for now. Yeah, I'm sure because it's early. It's early, you know, like there's going to be a lot of iterations on this stuff. So it's like, don't jump on it if you're, not sure, you know.
Yeah.
Because these will probably be outdated in a year, you know, but it's very cool.
Rodney wants them so he can surf with them.
Ah, right. I thought it was something more nefarious. Dave says, Justin, can we shoot 5.4 on the R3? No, I think we can only shoot 3.4. 3.4, 3.2, square 1:1 and 16:9. I think that's it. Oh, and the 1.6 crop in, which again, it's like, why just 1.6? I know that's because what an APS-C Canon sensor is, and that's all they think. But we could have multiple digital crops like everyone else is putting in fixed lens cameras, you know, like punch in. It doesn't have to just be 1.6. Anyway.
Well, you know what would be really cool is to have some industry standards, have some extras, and then have custom.
Ooh, custom crops.
Well, I mean, you can do it in Lightroom and Photoshop, so why not do it in camera? You know what I mean? Like if you're going to create the option to create a crop line, you still get the full sensor readout. But for shooting purposes, you want a very specific ratio.
Yeah.
Then imagine being able to dial in a custom.
Yeah, I think maybe not custom because that might be very hard for them to do software-wise with a lot of potential bugs and stuff. But I do like why not? So give us a 10 to 20 options, everything from different aspect ratios to also punch in, you know, a 1.1, a 1.2, a 1.3, you know, like crops up to a 2x crop that you can see in the EVF, and then have it like Canon do with a lot of their stuff, where you can select or deselect those options from the crop menu. So that if you don't want to see if you only want to see 3, sometimes I shoot squares, sometimes I shoot pano, well then that's cool. And then if you want to cycle through all of them, then that's cool too. You know,
you got like favorites that can pop up in your quick menu kind of thing.
And that's how they do it with autofocus modes and all that stuff. You can deselect anything that's not relevant to you. That's how it should be, because then you're not scrolling through a million options. But cropping has just been, and aspect ratios has been left behind by the bigger brands like Canon. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ectaria says, I've always liked the way Canon only used Nikon due to it being available at the time. Canon, the only thing turning me off from Canon mirrorless is their lack of physical buttons. It's got a ton of buttons. What are you talking about? On the R5 Mark II, they got buttons everywhere. Oh, you mean maybe compared to Fuji, Fuji's more traditional style physical dials and buttons as opposed to Canon's very ergonomic in a different way. Fuji's ergonomic in a classic sense. Canon's ergonomic in like
a modern sense.
You know, we've had thousands of pro photographers iterate on the 1 series bodies for decades. Yeah. This is exactly where that button should go. Exactly.
This is what they want. This is what they demand. This is what they love. Yeah.
When you're shooting sports, the fastest way to do things is with this button to be right here. Yeah. And it's a different thing to Fuji. They're both good in their own ways, but they've got their own design philosophies around. Yeah. But Canon's got a ton of physical inputs, and that's one of the reasons I really like them.
And I think, you know, going back to this Sony, this RX1R Mark III, again, putting a mode switch on instead of a physical shutter button. I look forward to the day where they make mode switches a little LCD in their own, and you can change what actually appears on it. You can have it as an ISO like dial. You can have it as a shutter dial, as a mode switch, as a film sim switch, and it's an LED, and it will actually put the characters in it. Could you imagine
on
that?
The dial?
On the dial, you can make it whatever you want.
Fuck, expensive taste, Greg. That sounds hard.
5 years. Cool. You've heard it here first, folks. 5 years, they'll have digital dials.
No, I don't know. I don't know about that. Ectarius says, good night for now. Thanks for the input, Scott. Yeah, thank you. Thanks very much for joining us in the chat. Make sure if you get a chance, subscribe. And please give this episode a like as well, because that really helps. Every time someone likes this episode, YouTube shows our next episode to more people, and it will help us grow the channel. And we just want to grow the channel because we want more people in the chat, because then we've got more. Oh, look at this. New subscriber, Ectarius, just subscribed to your channel.
Hey.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah, it's not Ectarius.
It's gone. But yeah. How good's that?
Thanks, Ectarius.
Thank you very much. Give us a like. It really does help. I know every YouTube channel always say that, but it literally is like it sees that people like what we do, and then it's like, oh, I'll show it to a few more people, see if they like it. And that's how we'll eventually have a chat that's just going crazy, and we can build a bit of a community and have fun. It's going to be good.
That's where we try to differentiate ourselves, folks, is that we like the likes because it actually helps us expand the community, not necessarily just the whole, I need more likes for the analytics sort of thing. Because the more people that see it, the more people join, the more people get involved in the chat, have questions answered, just have a good time and just talk shop. We all love talking about photography. And this is the opportunity to do it live on YouTube. So make sure you stick around.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Rudy says, love the show. Thanks, Rudy. Really appreciate you. And I'm not even kidding. If you ever want to come on, give us a shout out. We love
please.
People that have had long careers in the photography industry. We've had
Rodney Nicholson.
What's his name? Rodney Nicholson, 51 years in the industry. Yeah. Amazing interview. Go back and have a listen to that if you want to hear a few stories. Andrew Chapman, same massive career. His full interview will be coming up later in the year. We've got some cool people coming up on Thursdays, but there's a ton in our back catalogue, so go and have a listen. Yeah. Would love
Rudy says he'd love to. Yay!
We'll
do you want to give him your email address?
Email me, justin@luckystraps.com.au. Just so we've got your contact details. Let us know.
And then we'll organise something. I'll be in touch.
Yeah. And Lim2001 Burger says, whoops, thought I was subscribed. Yeah, I think that's one of those things. It's like I listen to a heap of stuff on YouTube and I forget to subscribe. You love it. And it's like you just don't, I don't know. Sometimes it gives it to you if there's a new show and sometimes it doesn't. Whereas if you subscribe and do the notification thing, you always see it. So thank you. Thanks, Patrick. And thanks, Rudy. Rodney, they're better than a book.
Good on you, Rodney.
Cool. Is that about it?
I think we've pretty much covered everything we want to about this particular camera. Like Justin said earlier, guys, stick around. And to stick around, like, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you get notified. Like today, for example, was a completely random show. The camera dropped overnight for us here in Australia. So I woke up this morning to a very early text message from Justin saying, let's do a podcast. And the best way to let you know that that's happening is by being subscribed and having the bell icon selected so you get notified of all of our upcoming videos. But every Monday night, we have a random photography show, and that's 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Time. Is for us, so you can work out the math for where you are. And we just talk shop like this. We talk about photography, we talk about projects. Every now and then we might have a guest on to talk about something that's coming up for them. And then every Thursday morning, 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, we have an interview every week live with a photographer to talk about their genre, their work, their history, what got them into photography, and much, much more.
Which actually is tomorrow, as Philip has rightly pointed out. He says, thanks, gents, until tomorrow morning. Literally in less than 24 hours, we'll be going live with, where is it? Make sure I get the name right. Live with Brett Wood, who is a professional full-time landscape photographer, mainly focusing in New Zealand and Australia. Epic work from New Zealand. I'm going to New Zealand in a few weeks, so I'm going to pump him for information about where I should go. And we'll just have a chat to him about what life is like as a professional landscape photographer. He runs workshops. He's traveled the world. Amazing images. So, join us if you want for Brett Wood tomorrow, or listen back later. And then we've got other great ones coming up too. So.
Yep. And guys, this is the Camera Live podcast. This is actually episode 98. There's quite a back catalogue of videos, interviews, and random photography shows for you to go back and waste a whole day at work, really, just watching videos. If you can get away with it, I say do it.
Exactly. And don't forget, if you need a leather camera strap, you know where to go to, luckystraps.com. We make them here in Bendigo, Australia. We ship them all over the world, including the US. And apparently no tariffs on them as yet, but we don't really know what the deal is. But you buy them and so far, no one's been getting hit with tariffs. But if you do, let us know, and we'll figure that out for you.
And if you use code Greg at the checkout, GREG, you'll get a 15% discount.
Yep.
That's the least I can do for you. Well, at least that's the least that Justin would let me do for you.
You know what I should do that we never do on this show is actually like one thing that I never tell people about is so we make these leather. This one's a custom one that I had made to pretend that I was media with this gold. You can actually get your logo and stuff done in this embossing gold foil, silver foil, even just plain black. But anyway, getting away from that, soft leather with padding inside, rolled edges, really, really comfortable. But the important thing is it's got a quick release system that we designed ourselves that means you have to leave nothing on the camera. It fits Canon slot type, but also the little triangular rings on Nikon and stuff like that. So it threads through. I can't really show you because of my stupid Canon focusing. Threads through the camera and back onto this little hook that we designed on the clip. Can't do it because I can't hold on to everything at once. Anyway.
Oh no, wrong person.
You took me
sorry,
away.
guys. I'm so sorry.
Anyway, so it threads through, but this webbing that we use to make it that you can't really see is made from Dyneema, which is cut resistant. So it makes it a lot harder for people to steal. It's abrasion resistant. Should last for ages. And then also it has a little safety lock on it too. So it's almost impossible for someone to pinch your camera if you've got the strap across your body and you're wandering around the streets of Rome or somewhere cool. So check that out.
Yeah.
Check out our quick release system with safety locks, Dyneema webbing, cut resistance, load tested to 50 kilos, 115 pounds.
Yeah, there's even a video out there of Justin swinging his Q3 on a lucky strap, swinging in the air.
There is that. There is also a video of me showing you the cut resistant webbing. And comparing it to my D850, I think, Nikon strap that is not cut resistant and how easy that is to chop with a pair of scissors. So yeah, we've been making camera straps for 11 years now. Like I said, we make them here in Bendigo. They're Australian made, certified Australian made with the Australian made logo, ship them all over the world to great photographers. We've got well over 1,000 5-star reviews. I don't even know where it's at the moment.
Yeah.
And we've also, within the last week, I think it was, shipped our 20,000th order.
Oof, congratulations.
Which is another cool milestone. So yeah. It's not something we talk about much on the show. As you guys probably know, we don't do ad reads and all that sort of stuff. And since we're here and you guys are listening, I thought it's probably a chance to just let you know who I am and what we do. But
and we also do wrist straps, smaller.
Oh yeah,
away from the camera.
That's Greg's favorite is a wrist strap.
Yeah, I'm a wrist strap person.
Same
quick release mechanism, same quality leather.
I'm a deluxe padded strap kind of person.
Yeah.
I like
and if you want to find out more about the that's lame. No one does that. But if you want to find out more about how these are made, if you head to the luckystraps.com website, in the About section, there's a blog page, all the blogs that I've written for every interview that we've done on the site, also about how we make these straps. And it's called From Our Hands to Yours. And it's a Lucky Strap story. So you can go check that out.
Don't get too excited about these. If you've got a Canon R5, you can't get one. Only the first 1,000 pre-orders of the Canon R5 in Australia got these. Limited edition, made with Canon. This is where our deluxe strap came from. We designed it specifically for cameras like the R5 that are lightweight but have heavy lenses because they're used by professionals. So, yeah. All right, we should call it. That was the longest and probably the only ad we'll ever do. John Pickett says, got 4 lucky straps, 3 shoulder, 1 wrist. That is awesome. Are you doing straps for the Bright Festival of Photography this year? We are, but we haven't released the details yet, but we will.
Secret
we
squirrels.
Definitely will.
Yeah, we'll be there
business.
too.
We'll be there. We've got some little surprise in store. Wrist straps. Yep, wrist straps are cool. So yeah. Rodney says penguin in bondage.
I don't know what that's referring to, but Rodney, whatever you're into, mate, I knew that you loved being by the set and you loved it that much.
Yep.
On that note,
let's go.
We're going to call it, guys. Just a reminder, this has been the Camera Life podcast. This has been a special episode. One off the books. Don't tell the boss. Okay. But it's the 16th of July, 2025. This has been episode 98. And from Justin and Greg, I'm going to say farewell.
Yeah, and if you're listening back later and you want to leave a comment, leave it down below in the YouTube comments, because we will get to them on Monday night. If you've got any opinions on the RX1R Mark III or anything else that we've talked about, throw your opinions in there so we can read them out and chat about it. But otherwise, thanks everybody.
Be safe.
And thanks Patrick. Thanks Philip Johnson. Thanks Rodney, Dave, Jason, everybody.
John
Thanks
Pickett,
for joining us today. Rudy,
everyone. Even Dave.
Xtarius. What a chat. Talk soon.